that the US will recover much more quickly than Europe.
For the increase in our estimate price
Tesla's wild ride has left many of the analyst community in the dust.
This stock is heading for $7,000 over the next 5 years.
Let's bring in Ark Invest CEO and founder Cathie Wood, where everything has to click exactly right.
Including bankruptcy.
We're trying to figure out exactly how the NASDAQ stock.
3 years ahead.
$15,000 a share.
What's up, gang? My name's Brennan. Let's talk stocks. I don't like Cathie Wood. Now, I'm sure that sounds like a pretty plain statement to say, but hear me out here just a second. I feel like she single-handedly convinced a bunch of new, inexperienced investors that she knew the best way to invest money better than Warren Buffett or Ray Dalio or anybody else of our time. But here's the thing though, right? Her whole idea of investing by investing in innovative companies that are growing quickly, hypothetically, emphasis on hypothetically, that should be a good way to invest, right? Because you're investing in growing companies. And to be fair, it worked for a little while until it didn't. So what went wrong with all that? Now, obviously, if you know just the basics of the stock market, it's pretty obvious to tell in hindsight that Cathie Wood was investing in some pretty overvalued companies. Case in point, but you obviously already knew that, so I'm not gonna bore you with the details of that. Instead, I wanna get into something deeper than that. Even deeper than Cathie Wood's middle name. Some jokes just write themselves, guys. I wanna know what's going on in her mind. Basically, I just wanna know what made her think that this was a good idea. But first, let's start with some backstory. Now, I actually found out a lot of Cathie Wood's really funny backstory from her Wikipedia page. These are some of the highlights. From 2001 to 2014, she worked for AllianceBernstein, a big asset management company. While she was there, she was actually widely criticized for her fund underperforming the market during the financial crisis of 2009. At one point or another, while she was working there, she actually pitched her idea of the innovation funds to her boss. Now, of course, these funds were pretty much immediately shut down because they were considered to be too risky. And obviously, we see how that ended up. So she left Alliance to start Ark in 2014, where she got her first round of funding from Bill Hwang of Archegos Capital. If you're unfamiliar with Bill Hwang, he was the guy who absolutely eviscerated $20 billion in 2 business days. At that rate, it would have taken longer for $20 billion to physically burn to ash. So Cathie Wood certainly has a bit of a track record, to say the least. But the risk of Cathie Wood's strategy actually goes beyond just the nature of the businesses and the surface level valuations. So I decided to take a look at one of Cathie Wood's valuation models for Zoom stock. This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. In fact, I would almost dare to say that the contents of this document have a direct correlation to Cathie Wood's performance in her ETFs. So I want to talk about just the bear case. I don't even want to touch the bull case because by looking at the bear case, we're talking about only what Cathie Wood saw as the worst case scenario. By the way, you have to remember that this is the case for 2026. So Cathie Wood thinks that all of what I'm about to say is going to happen in the next 4 years. Now, I think the first thing on here that's worth mentioning is the fact that Cathie Wood expects the number of people to pay for Zoom to triple. Now, I'm gonna be real with you guys. That ain't happening. You know what else also definitely isn't gonna happen? Is the average revenue per user going up 3 times. And I mean, everything I'm saying right now, these are all just like very common sense statements, right? Like, think about it. Would you pay 3 times the amount you're paying right now for something 4 years down the line? Probably not. If people are struggling right now with 9% inflation, I can't even imagine what would happen with 200% price increases. So yeah, that one definitely isn't gonna happen either. So basically then we take the 3 times average revenue per user and the 3 times number of users, and we just kind of crunch some numbers. And obviously that leads to then 7.5 times revenue in 4 years. Not 7%, not 75%, 7,500% revenue growth in 4 years. Easy, obviously. And then obviously the price multiples on this stock right now that are at historic highs, they're gonna remain at historic highs, obviously, because, you know, why not? I mean, honestly, I can't really think of anything that would change that in the foreseeable future. So she's probably right, honestly. So basically, Cathie Wood, she mixes all these things together, and obviously she comes out with the very obvious answer of 49% compound annual growth rate over the next 4 years. And that's her worst possible scenario for Zoom stock. That is the bear case, okay? If anyone was wondering, her bull case is 87% annualized returns. 87%! And now, of course, Cathie Wood's Ark ETF is down 60% year to date. Guys, you have to remember that if returns like these were even remotely close to possible, everybody would be doing it. So why isn't everybody doing it? Well, I'm sure you could probably figure that one out. And then, of course, more recently, the news broke that Cathie Wood's actually handing off the reins of 2 of her funds to a different fund manager. Funny how these things work, huh? So it could probably be good to use some semblance of historical facts and figures when trying to analyze a business, instead of the practice of just pulling random numbers off random people's license plates. I don't know, just maybe that could be good. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. To start faster, what joke am I trying to make? The average revenue per year,